Shalom, Kahalalim the Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Wahavar Hakudash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of GMS Uruwa, who I learned this truth from, and salutations and blessings to you elect, starting with 144,000 on down. So this lesson is pretty much going to go into a topic we touched on at camp last week on Saturday, about how in the scriptures there's times where it mentions the word arrow or arrows, and that's talking about thermonuclear missiles known as ICBMs, which stands for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. All right, so they're pretty much nuclear warheads that are shot from one continent to the next. So let's read 2 Ezra 16 and 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. See? So this is all parabolic, symbolic, spiritual talk, right? Prophetic talk, because again, you can't shoot an arrow, right, from from here to Buffalo, from Toronto to Buffalo. Never mind the end of the earth, right? You have the western and the eastern hemisphere. So this is speaking about a different type of instrument, right? And in U.S. military terminology, right? United States nuclear incident terminology, right? It's going to show you that these devils, they know that these are arrows, that the nuclear weapons in the scriptures are arrows, and they themselves term their own devices, aka these nuclear missiles, as arrows, right? One term is a bent spear, is the flag word for nuclear weapon incidents defined as unexpected events involving nuclear weapons, warheads, components, or vehicles transporting nuclear material that are of significant interest. Broken arrow is the flag word for nuclear weapon accidents defined as unexpected events involving nuclear weapons, warheads, etc. Right? So a broken arrow is really a code word for, a stolen or hijacked missile. Empty quiver. What's a quiver? That's where you carry your arrows. You have your bow and you have your quiver to carry them arrows. So that's a dull sword refers to reports of minor incidents involving nuclear weapons, components, or systems. So the scriptures mention flying swords. So the scriptures is on point, man. Right now, this is from chat. The term arrows for nuclear missiles comes from very old language habits long before rockets existed. In ancient warfare, the arrow was the symbol of swift, far-reaching, unavoidable death. It struck from a distance, often without warning, and once released, it could not be recalled. That image carried forward into military language. Okay. Modern militaries borrowed that symbolism. A missile is launched like an arrow. It travels a long distance to strike a target. Once fired, it cannot be taken back. Its purpose is decisive and destructive. There's also a more direct naming link. Israel developed a missile defense system literally called the Arrow Missile System, again reinforcing the idea of intercepting incoming arrows in the sky. See? So I typed in different names of missiles. So they got one called the Brimstone missile up here. That's the British, I believe they have that. Right, not an arrow by name, but conceptually similar, fast, precise, and final. Now let me get this. This is Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh had raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, right, going into Russia, right, for his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. And the missiles or the weapons of the Russians is what? The missiles, thermonuclear missiles, right? There's one point. Oh, the brimstone. That's what I want to get. Okay. And this is going into exactly what we're talking about, thermonuclear missiles. right? Revelation 9 and 16, and the number of the army of the horsemen, which these horsemen represent, again, thermonuclear missiles. Okay, just like in Joel 3, none shall break their rank because they have a trajectory. There's a system, there's a GPS system they have, right? Where they have the targets already laid out. So the scriptures also mention about they shall not jostle or jottle against each other. Like you have two horses that are really close and the armor might hit each other, or the whatever, the hoof or the head might clank each other with the helmet. No, everything is precise down to the science, to the pinpoint destination, right? That's why I said it's a trajectory, meaning there's from point A to point B, everything is mapped out, right? Of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Okay, this is going into that thermonuclear destruction with the ICBMs. So they got a missile called a brimstone missile. You can't make this up. Okay, they have a Trident 2D5. A trident is a thrown spear. Again, we're going into arrows, which is what? What is an arrow? An arrow is technically like a spear. It's just a shorter stick and obviously a smaller spearhead. A spearhead is a thick piece of wood. Obviously, you grab that and you throw it like a lance. But it's the same thing. It's a darting, sharp-headed, spear-headed weapon. Okay, that's shot from one point to the other. You know, whether that's shot from a bow or a person throwing, it's all the same symbolism. Okay. Um, Let me see. Cultural, number 4, cultural and rhetorical parallels. In military speeches and doctrine across different countries, you'll find phrases like arrows in the quiver, meaning available strike capabilities. First arrow or final arrow for first strike or retaliatory strike. These echo the same truth. Once released, the weapon carries intent to its end. Okay. And then here in the US, again, we brought this out in US military. In US nuclear terminology, a broken arrow means an accident involving a nuclear weapon that does not involve the risk of nuclear war. It covers accidents like accidental launch, which, by the way, we're going into these world leaders. They don't have to set off these missiles. They don't have to press the button. They don't need to get the codes and then they get the briefcase and put the key in and then press the button. These angels can set off these codes. There's been a numerous amounts or accounts of nuclear stations, nuclear weapon stations where the missiles are about to be shot off for no reason, no apparent reason. Nobody touched anything, nobody did anything, and then all of a sudden, all the bells and whistles and the lights come on, and then all of a sudden, everything shuts down. All right, which I'll bring that out because I brought it out at camp, so I'll bring it out in this lesson. That happened with the Russians. I'm pretty sure it happened with America too. But again, they don't need to. If you guys don't want to, don't worry. The angels will do it. But you're gonna want to, because you know why? The angels are working on your minds. Okay, it says even the demons are working on your minds, because it says that these are in Revelation 16. These are devils, spirits of devils working miracles. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. 16, I believe. Yep. Revelation 16, and I'll go to the point 14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of power almighty. Okay. Going into Armageddon, Armageddon, mountain of troops. Okay, so that was the point there. Now let me go. Where is that? Flying swords. Mention that. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 15. I'll go to the point, right? 41. Fire and hail and flying swords and many waters, that all fields may be full and all rivers with abundance of great waters. Again, going into certain terminologies about What does that mean? A flying sword. It's an instrument of death. That's what a sword is. Okay, you don't use swords to peel your oranges or cut your apples. A sword is an instrument of death, pretty much, right? So, but now it's saying in the scriptures it's flying. So what does that mean? It's some kind of device that's obviously has what's that term? Flying capabilities, for lack of a better term. All right, it's able to fly. It's able to be a projectile in the air, and its purpose is what? Death. So it's going into these thermonuclear missiles, man. Okay, flying swords. Now let me get. There's a lot. A lot more scriptures about the arrows. Let me see. Oh, out of thy. Yep. Uh, Ezekiel 39:3. Actually, I'll go to 2. Uh, well, the point is at 3, but it's going into Gog and Magog, which is the Russians, right? And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands, and the people that is with thee. I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. Again, that I will cause thy bow. I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and cause thine arrows to fall, which is what? These missiles, the ICBM missiles. Matter of fact, Russia has one called the Satan 2. Actually, Russia has one. Hold on, why didn't it show it? Because I thought it had it. Yeah, I was supposed to bring this out real quick. Hold on, real quick. Yeah, Russia got one called the Iskander missile system, specifically the Iskander M, nicknamed Alexander the Great. Is a highly precise Russian tactical ballistic missile system. All right, so they're really getting into that spirit, man, of Alexander the Great. You know, the Greek freak, man, the guy that set it off for you Edomites to go and conquer the known world. You know, okay, so this is going into that incident. This is according to recent testimony and newly public Soviet era documents. A UFO incident in October 1982 at a Ukrainian ICBM base allegedly caused Soviet nuclear missiles to become activated, nearly triggering World War III. The incident involved unexplained high maneuverability objects, which is what they call UFOs, which is the chariots of the Most High, and a subsequent failure of launch control systems. Okay. It says the claim investigative journalist George Knapp reported on declassified documents showing UFOs appeared over a missile base and popped up above ICBM targets at the US. Jeez. System failure. During a 4-hour incident, witnesses reported that the launch control codes for the nuclear ICBMs lit up and the correct launch codes were somehow entered. The near miss officers allegedly panicked, but the missiles did not launch and the system returned to normal once the UFOs departed. Colonel Boris Sokolov, who led a Soviet UFO investigation unit, allegedly concluded that the UFOs seized control of the nuclear weapons, sending a message. Okay. Well, they try to say that he said this reported 1982 event is different from the famous 1983 incident where Officer Stanislav Petrov correctly identified a false alarm caused by sunlight reflecting off clouds rather than a UFO. Man, I think they would build these codes and these launch pads with the idea that, hey, if sunlight hits it, make sure it doesn't set it off. You know, that would be a pretty good security protocol to include. Oh man, these devils. It says reports also suggest Soviet fighter jets were sometimes ordered to engage these UFOs, but some cases resulting in the loss of pilots, according to Knapp's testimony based on smuggled KGB files. So you can look this up. This is a famous case. And by the way, this was actually, I don't know why it's not showing because I brought this out at camp, but you know, AI sometimes it doesn't include it. There was a congressional hearing last year about this. I don't know. Let me see if it'll mention that. I mentioned it in September of 2025. Mm, one sec. Yes, during a U.S. House Oversight Committee hearing on September 9th, 2025, investigative journalist John Knapp testified that a UFO incident in the Soviet Union nearly initiated World War III. So they had a actual congressional hearing over this, and this was in 1982. Why are they reigniting this, reliving this? Because they're going through the same shit right now. Probably they're seeing these chariots, strange occurrences is happening. What is that? Sirach 36, make strange wonders. Let me get that. That's one of my favorite scriptures. Um, strange. Yeah, 36 and 6. Show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. Okay. The September 2025 hearing aimed to increase transparency with witnesses describing UAPs as a threat to national security. See? So, and this is, look, this is not from Alex Jones or Prison Planet. This is Fox News. This is Google. This is Google AI, or what do you call it? Gemini AI. These are official declassified, right? Declassified documents. Okay, and guess what? This is part of the curse. This is a curse to you devils, man. This is a fucking curse, man. This is your end, you know? Zechariah 5 and 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll, the length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits, right? And in NLT it says it appears to be 30 feet long and 15 feet wide. And then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. See, and I will bring it, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief. Right, you Edomites, you stole America, you stole the Israelites, you stole their heritage, you stole the whole earth. Okay, you rewrote history. You oppress a man in his heritage. You take away a man's house. Okay, you are the thief. You are the thief. All right, not Tyrone and Pookie and Jose in the hood in the barrios. You know, stealing some lady's purse or robbing a Brinks truck or, you know, nah, bro, no, not those guys. You are the thief. Okay, you steal continents, man. You steal resources. You steal people's souls. Okay, it says, into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. Okay, just like leprosy. Just like leprosy, you had to destroy the everything, the structure, the wood, framing, the bricks. You have to burn it with fire. America's a big leper house, man. It's a big house of fucking uncleanness. It's got to get burnt up. It's got to get purged, purified. Okay? This thing's acting up. I'm going to look into it. They'll post it on YouTube community post, because that's a good quote. These guys literally just said that UAPs are a threat to national security. And you are right, sir. Anyway, Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Shalom to the elect.